Hello everyone. I'd love to say that if you're lucky enough to meet a woman who will promise to remain faithful to you till the end, and she doesn't break that promise, then you should do everything you can to keep her, because you only find one of such women out of 1,000. My ex-wife promised me she'd be faithful several times, but in the end, she cheated on me with the last person I would have imagined. To keep my anonymous, for the sake of this video, I'll be using fake names. I'm Smith, 34, and my ex-wife, Anna, is 29F. We used to be two lovebirds that could not stay an hour without each being with each other. I met Anna when I was 20, 5 years, and she was just 20 by then. She was young, fragile, and had the most beautiful eyes I had ever seen. Though I was in a relationship as of the time, we both met, but soon after I broke up. We became friends, and from there we graduated to lovers. I was a regular customer to a coffee shop close to my place of work, and that's where Anna worked. She just had this aura of drawing people close to her, and even if she had a bad day, she'd always be smiling. What started out as me just telling how much I hated Monday mornings became the inception of our love story. The first time I told Anna how I felt about her, she turned me down because she thought I was messing with her, and she believed we did not belong to the same social class. I expected to get that from her, but I was at the stage in my life where I really needed a companion or someone to talk to. I had just lost my dad, and handling the emotional trauma and work did not seem to go well for me. As of the time we got really close, my company gave me a 3 weeks leave to mourn my late father properly, but that did not help me with the pain in any way. It just gave me time to think about other things aside from work. So, instead of staying at home to mourn like I was expected to, I went to her coffee shop every day. I loved watching her take customers' orders, smile at them whenever they walked into the shop, and I loved how she treated me with so much kindness. After consistently going to talk to her while she worked for 3 weeks, we became friends. She told me about herself and admitted that she lost her dad at age 14, but her mom married someone else and left her to take care of herself, and that was why she started working at a very young age. She completed high school, but she was hoping she could save enough money for college one day to pursue her dreams of studying business management. I admired her zeal and passion to make things right in her life, especially going back to school. I understood that not so many people were lucky to come from a family like mine, where our college fee was already saved for by our parents. Also, I was tired of all the fake life women I met, and it had been a long time since I met someone who was so real and transparent like she was. Since I was still fresh out of college, and was lucky to get a job that could hold spirit and body together, I assured her she could go back to school and be whatever she wanted to be. Not just that, I contributed to her dreams, and I made sure it became a reality. By the time we had gotten to know each other, it was easier for her to trust me, and when I asked her to be my girlfriend the second time, she said yes. I started by enrolling her for online courses, so she could at least understand what she was going into and not just being led by the fancy name. I worked harder, did extra hours, switched jobs when I didn't get the kind of raise I needed, so I could save enough money for her to go to college. I did all of this because I loved her, and I really wanted her to achieve her dreams. Within 2 years of dating, we made it possible. The money I saved rolled into thousands of dollars, and she also saved a decent amount of money. The truth is, we had to make a lot of changes and readjustment to achieve this. I asked her to move into my apartment so she could save her own portion of the rent. We went out to fancy restaurants like once in 3 months because we had to save up every penny we made. I made a lot of sacrifices just to make sure I saw her through college. And though it affected major things in my life, I knew that once she got her degree, she'd be able to get a good job instead of being paid $20 per hour. I did all of that because I loved her, and I knew with her level of smartness, scaling in her industry would be an easy thing for her. In the end, I was right. She completed college and got a good job. The pay was way better, and we could finally live the life we always envisioned. After she got a job about a year later, I proposed to her and we got married. I was glad that she wasn't just able to get a degree in college, but she was able to make friends with people in her social class and not people who did not add anything to her life. While she was in school, Anna made a couple of friends, but the only ones that really stood by her was her gay friend, Pete, and her best friend, Susan. Pete and Susan were not in her same line of business, but they were so supportive. When Anna gave birth to our first daughter, Casey, Susan literally paused her life for take care of Anna. She never missed any of her antenatal checkups. They shopped for baby stuff together. They fixed up Casey's room together, and she was even there with Anna in the hospital when she gave birth. Pete, on the other hand, supported her in his own ways. They were so close, and normally, if he weren't gay and he was another man, I wouldn't let Anna get so close to him. So whenever I left them together at home or in the kitchen, I didn't bother about anything going between them because he was interested in men, not women. By the time Anna gave birth to our second daughter, Kate, she added so much weight and she was almost not recognizable. Casey was already 3 and Anna had grown with her organization to the extent that she could choose to work from home while she nursed Kate, and no one would bother her about it. Despite adding so much weight and not looking like the Anna I met the years before, I still loved her and I was not ready to treat her badly or judge her because of how she looked on the outside. I was more interested in the Anna within. I was glad that my wife had friends she could fall back on, and I also counted them as a part of our family. All along, I never knew that Susan was into me. I just believed that the way she treated me was just an extension of her love for Anna, but it was much more than that. In a couple of months, Kate's first birthday came, and we decided to do a sweet birthday party for her. There was a lot to eat and drink, and so much fun for the kids. But as adults, we decided to do something for ourselves too, so we added alcohol to our own fruit punch. There were a lot of people at the party, and Anna and I could not handle them, so we asked Pete and Susan to take care of some of the guests. And that same evening, by the time the party was over, I decided to sit and drink with Susan while Pete and Anna cleaned up the mess. It was originally Pete's idea, since he was one of those guys who could not survive for a minute in a dirty or unkempt environment. We were so exhausted, so while they cleaned, Susan and I chatted about the party and how Casey carried herself around in excitement like it was her own party. Almost immediately, we heard Pete and Anna laughing outside, and I jokingly said, what would Anna do without Pete? I wasn't expecting Susan to respond, but when she said of course, those two are closer than you think, then she winked. I knew she was indirectly trying to tell me something. I laughed it off, but the idea of Pete and Anna being closer than I knew began to live rent-free in my head. Anna and I had been through a lot for her to have an affair with anyone else. I wouldn't lie that I wasn't attracted to other women. I was, but each time I remembered Anna and everything we went through to get to where we were, it kept me in check. It would have been unfair of me to cheat on her, especially after she sacrificed her body to bear our children. It wasn't until everything happened that I knew that Susan had been looking for an opportunity to hint that there was something going on with Anna and Pete. From that day, I began to pay attention to the way Anna and Pete spoke to each other, their body movements, and the hidden messages behind their conversations. I tried all of that, and I wasn't able to get anything concrete. It was even more difficult because of Pete's personality. He was mean at times, so I couldn't even tell if he was being flirty or he was just himself. When I didn't get anything, I tried to get the idea of my wife cheating on me out of my head. I was gradually getting rid of it until I bumped into the both of them in our room, in an awkward position. Anna was sitting on Pete's thigh, and when I walked into the both of them, they said she were helping Pete practice his new drama role. It was odd because I didn't know Pete to be involved in dramas, aside from being very dramatic in real life. I acted like there was nothing wrong, but that only turned on my antennas. I didn't even remember that we had cameras installed at home because of Casey, but we had completely forgotten about them after she became more self-aware and could speak. I knew that if I was going to bust Anna, it had to be through the cameras. They were linked to our phones, so it was easy to monitor the house and watch what was happening inside. When I got to the cameras, I found out that Anna turned them off, but I guess she did not know I could turn them on with the remote control. After I turned on the camera, the next day, I witnessed horrific image of Pete and my wife. I still wanted to believe that it was staged by the both of them, but it wasn't. They had been doing it for a very long time, and I only found out. I tried confiding in Susan, and that's when she opened up that she had been suspecting them, and she said that the reason she hinted me was because I did not deserve to be treated that way. I was so hurt, but I was glad that it happened. I pretended everything was fine, and Pete kept coming to the house, and they continued to act like they were just friends. It was hard to believe that after all I had sacrificed for Anna, she was heartless to cheat on me, and her choice of her partner even made me madder. I came up with a plan. Anna and I had been saving money to buy a bigger house of about $450, and we were getting close to saving half the amount. My intention was to take all of the money, which I did, but that was after I divorced her. For the divorce aspect, after the divorce papers were ready, I sent them to her in her office. I didn't just send them like that. I ordered a large bouquet of roses and tucked the divorce papers in it. When it got to her office, her colleagues were envious because of how she rubbed it on their faces. But after she realized that I delivered divorce papers to her in a bouquet, it turned into something else. I knew taking all of our Live Face savings with me would hurt her money, and it was even more reason I did. I knew it would take her years or her entire lifetime to save that amount of money again. I didn't just want to use it, I wanted to hurt her. So while I was driving on the highway, I scattered the money, and other drivers and passers-by stopped to pick it. When the police asked me about it, I told them I was helping the poor with the cash. Anna and everyone else believed I scattered all of the money, but no one knew I threw a few thousands, and I took the rest for myself. I considered it to be the monetary worth of all my sacrifices during the early stage of our relationship. My friends and family called me all sorts of names, but no one knew what I had done. Anna was shocked that I had been aware of her affair with Pete, and I never confronted her. She even claimed it was wicked at me to do that to her, but it was just nonsense. How was not confronting my cheating ex-wife being wicked? I didn't expect Pete to stick with her after I left, and he didn't. I took custody over Casey, while Anna kept Kate because she was still a baby, and she needed her mother. I was grateful Susan was there with me while I dealt with the emotional trauma of my wife letting me down. She supported me and stood by me during the divorce. We are currently dating, but I'm not in a hurry to take things serious. When Anna realized she had lost everything, including her friends, she tried to come back to me, but it was too late. She even got into fight with Susan. She called her a bitch and a snake for stealing me away from her, but the deed had already been done. If she had not destroyed what we shared by sleeping with Pete, then things would not have ended the way it did. I'm glad she's out of my life now, and being with Susan has made me very happy.